Understanding the stages of the recovery process is a critical part of recovering from anxiety. That's because recovery is not linear. It has its ups and downs, triumphs and setbacks. And if you aren't prepared for this, you can easily get thrown off course and see your recovery derailed forever. But we're not going to let that happen. So today, we're going to dive into what the 3 stages of anxiety recovery look like. Let's get started. All right, if you haven't already, you need to get on the recovery path. For that, I have the 5-step cure to anxiety and panic attacks in the link below. It's completely free, and it's going to be your roadmap for recovering from anxiety. Okay, let's start with the question that I know you want the answer to. When will I feel better? The answer to that question is simple. You'll start feeling better when you lose your fear of anxiety, when you're no longer afraid of whether your anxiety will show up, and you're not afraid of any of the strange and intense sensations that anxiety creates. When this happens, there is going to be a massive shift in your sense of well-being. It's like the sun finally begins to shine through the dark, gloomy clouds that have been hanging over your head, and you start to feel a heck of a lot better. But here's the thing. You can't turn off an overactive nervous system instantly. It's not like flipping off a light switch and your anxiety is gone. Instead, I want you to think of your anxiety like a bonfire, similar to the type you'd have in your backyard. When you respond to anxiety in the wrong way, when you resist against it with fear and tension, that's like you throwing logs onto the bonfire, making it burn hotter and longer. But once you start responding to your anxiety in the right way, that's you not adding any more logs to the fire. The fire will gradually die down and eventually extinguish. Then you are completely free from anxiety and all its strange sensations. As a side note, if you don't already know how to approach your anxiety in the right way, make sure you download the 5-step cure to anxiety and panic attacks that I put in the link below. All right, let's take a look at the 3 stages of anxiety recovery. Stage 1. This is where many of you might be right now. Maybe you have started to apply some of the techniques you've learned on this channel and implementing the fearless approach each time you experience anxiety. That's exactly what I want you to do. But in the first couple weeks of doing that, you're not going to see any significant changes in your anxiety yet. And that can be very unnerving. I remember during my own recovery, this was the toughest part of recovery. That's because I wanted confirmation that I was on the right path, that this new approach that I was using was working and I was going to recover. But with me and the vast majority of my clients, there are no noticeable improvements in your anxiety within the first few weeks. So if you're in the early stage of recovery right now, I want you to know that it's perfectly normal if you're not feeling different yet. In this stage, I like to remind my clients that they are making progress even though you can't see or experience that progress. I like to draw the comparison to bamboo. Did you know that bamboo can barely be seen for the first 5 years of its life as it builds these extensive root systems underground, but then it explodes 90 feet into the air within just 6 weeks? Well, like bamboo, your progress at the beginning of recovery won't be visible. You likely won't notice any difference in your symptoms. However, just like the bamboo that's developing roots underground, the healing and desensitization of your nervous system is well underway. Stage 2. After a few weeks, you'll start to notice subtle changes in your anxiety. Your panic attacks, they'll be completely gone, and the intensity of your anxiety dials back a notch or two. It's certainly not all smooth sailing yet, but there are these brief moments when you feel almost back to normal. For instance, it might be that you're going through part of your day, and then you suddenly realize that you didn't think about your anxiety at all for the past 20 minutes. That's a huge win because it shows that you're starting to lose your fear of anxiety, and that's allowing your brain to focus on other things. Stage 3. This is the longest and most transformative stage. It is where the real shifts happen. You'll find yourself having more good days than bad. and the dark clouds of anxiety aren't always looming over your head. But again, recovery is not a linear process. It's full of ups and downs. There will be times when it feels like you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But in general, your recovery will be on an upward trajectory. This is a really incredible stage, and it produces almost euphoric feelings at times. That's because in this stage, your energy levels start to come back, and your motivation returns. You start enjoying life a heck of a lot more, and that is a big, big deal. So life is no longer about just surviving. Instead, you're starting to live with purpose and excitement again. For me personally, this was one of the best periods of my life. It produced almost this natural high. That's because I knew with 100% certainty that I was getting close to a full recovery. I could literally feel my body returning back to its normal state. I had the energy and confidence to do things that I used to do before anxiety. I was able to focus on work projects. I could go to the gym and have a good workout. And I could take trips with my fiance and my friends. It was a truly unforgettable time in my life. And that's exactly what is going to happen to you. You are going to progress through these stages of recovery and soon begin to feel normal life returning. Yes, I know that the journey of recovery is not easy, but you're not alone. I'm here with you, and together, you're going to make a full recovery, I promise. All right, before we wrap this up, do someone a favor and send this episode to them if you think it'd be helpful. Also, make sure you hit the notification button so you get notified when a new episode comes out. It really helps the channel grow. Hope you all have a great day and see you on the next episode.